Good morning, everybody. Well, today is our last day of the summer semester. Today's webinar will be very short unless you guys check in and have some questions for me. I just have a couple more points to add to lesson 14, which covers the topic of symbols. So a couple of things that I either goofed on or failed to cover yesterday. But for example, once you have created a symbol, and this is what I have here. For example, I have the little flower. And I can tell it's a symbol because, and it's a very subtle change that when it's selected, you can see a little outline, black outline around the box, and it shows that this is in fact a symbol. Well, a couple of things that you can do. If you decide that you want to use this particular little illustration, but you don't want it to be a symbol and you want it independent from all the others, I would just simply hold down the Option or Alt key on the PC, make a copy of it, and then you have with the symbol panel, you have this little checkbox down here that says break link to symbol. When you do that, it's no longer attached. So now when I select it, this should no longer be attached to it. And you know what, I can't tell if it is or it isn't, but it is detached. So now what I can do is I can, select it, and I can, if I want to use a different fill, so let's fill it with red. So I want red flowers instead. And then if I wish, I can create a new symbol from this, or I can take the existing symbol that I created and I can replace it with this. And that's what I want to show you now. So if I take this object and I hold down the Option or Alt key and I click and I drag it on top of the green flower symbol and I release, notice what it's done. It's turned it into a symbol, and it's taken all of the other instances of that green symbol and changed them to red. Now, another thing that you can do too is that what if I wanted to just turn them into polka dots or turn them into sushi or turn them into whatever? Let's use this little splatter here. So I'm going to click this little splatter and I'm going to reduce it in size a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing. Since this is a symbol, I'm going to go ahead and select it and detach it from that. And now let's go ahead and, again, fill it with a different color. I'm going to fill it with orange. Okay. And now what I want to do is I want to replace all of these flowers with this orange symbol. So what I do is, again, I hold down the Option or Alt key. I click and I drag it on top of the flower. And that's what it does, it replaces it. So this happens to be a technique, by the way, that does work really, really well when you have lots of items in your illustration that if you were to update them or change them individually would take a significant amount of time. And in this particular instance, by using, symbols, it just took a couple of seconds to make that change. So that's pretty cool. Another thing that I did differently than the book yesterday, but I came back after my lecture and I did it again, is they took the little surfboards and they placed them inside the shape that they provided us. That actually kind of looks like the tip of a surfboard. Okay, so what they did is they used the draw inside feature. Now you can do that or not, it's up to you. If I go ahead and I double click on it, on this particular draw inside element, okay, let's go ahead. Now I'm inside the clip. Now I can select all three of these if I wish. And I can copy them or cut them from the object. And now let's go ahead and with this one selected, Okay, let's go back again. Now it is, I'm going to make it a little bit more visible. I'm going to go ahead and select the stroke for it so we can see what we're doing here. There we go. So if I want to put this here, and I want to paste elements on top of it, okay, I could use this shape to cover the bottom half of it. In this particular instance, what they did is a smart move to draw inside. However, what I can do with this is I can take it and I can flip it. So let's go ahead and flip. I'm going to go ahead and with it selected, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to use the flip tool or the mirror tool. And I want it to flip horizontally. So it just does that. Okay. And now I'm going to move it into position. So I want it to be down here. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. Select it again. Move it, hold down the shift key to constrain the movement of it. And now I need to make sure that I have layers visible so I can see where all of this is going to be. And now that I have those elements on the clipboard, I'm going to go ahead and Command V, paste. And there they are. There's my group. And if I want to, I can, in fact, group them, make it a little bit easier on myself. And you'll notice that they are, in fact, in front of this item here. Well, what I can do is make sure that this item in layers is above the surfboards and above the fish. So I'm going to go ahead and with this selected, with this item selected, I'm going to target it down here. All right, now this is our clipping path. And we have nothing in here. So I'm going to go ahead and take it and throw that away. So it's no longer, it's just the shape. Let me undo that. Let's bring that back. Okay. So what I can do, because that was a draw inside feature, let me take this and move it aside. No, I'll just move it up so that it's above. So I want it above the fish. I want it above, let's keep going here. I want it above the surfboards. So it's above everything. So it's above the surfboards, but now I need it below the fish. Okay. So now what I need to do, so this is a good example of where the draw inside was a better solution. So now I need to take the fish. So I'm going to look back in content, whoops, down here under layer 1. And let's find all of the fish. And here they are. So I'll select them. Hold down the shift key and select each of the fish so that they're all selected. And I'll also select the, well, I'll just select the fish for right now. And what I want to do, the easiest way of changing that is just go to Object Arrange and say bring to front. Now it brought it to the front of this layer, but now what I need to do is take all of these and put them in the layer where the clipping mask and the surfboards are. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of these that are selected. So I'm going to go ahead and select, hold down the shift key and make sure that I want to try to move them all at the same time. And I need to move them above that clipping mask. Come on, let's pull this down like so. There we go. So those are there. And again, I have these little spots that I made that need to be moved up. So you need to rearrange them, but you don't have to draw. The point that I'm trying to make is that you don't have to draw inside. I can now go back and select this shape. There we go. And I can remove the stroke. And you get the same appearance that you would if they were in fact drawn inside. But you can see that my layers are messed up a little bit and they need to be rearranged. So as you're building your illustration, you would probably take that into consideration. This is a good candidate, by the way, though, for a reason why you would want to use the draw inside feature. It really makes good sense. Now, the one other thing that they cover in this lesson, when we saw this the other day, is that we have these little glyphs, like little icons that were designed, that what we can do is that if you wish, you can globally edit them. So I'm going to come back over here. And here we have, this is the start one. And if I come over here, whoops, I don't want that one. I want that one. Here's the finished one. So doesn't appear like there's much of a change, and there really isn't that much. The only time, and this is the first time I've used the global edit feature. It's a relatively new addition to Illustrator. It only appeared, as far as I know, once Adobe Illustrator and the other Adobe line of products were available with an online subscription. But in the event that you're working with a team, or you're working for a company and you're making a minor change, major significant change to some of their products, and you want to make sure that everybody who has access to these items has the latest version or updated version, then this is what you might want to do, is to do global edits. You do need to be careful, though, because it does, once you make that change, it changes it for anyone and everyone. So the one that we're going to do is I'm going to come back here and select this one. Now, how you do that is I can select this item, and I only want to change the outline of this. So instead of a black stroke, I want it to be a red stroke. Now, it only changed that one, and that's fine. That's what we normally do. But the series of icons or glyphs, or whatever you want to call them, on the right represent items that exist elsewhere in the library, online, in the cloud. So what we can do is we can start a global edit. So I'm going to undo that change. And with this item selected, I'm going to say start global edit. And notice that it selects all the items that are going to change are the ones that are highlighted. So to come down here, what we can do is with this little arrow or this little drop down button over here, we can determine which one of these we want to change. All of them or just a select group of them. So if I select this one by appearance, notice that a fewer number have been selected. If I select by size, for example, only this one changes now. If I select range, or I select include objects on canvas, then under select all artboards, portrait artboards, landscape artboards, you name it, it will refine the selection. But for right now, if I turn off appearance and I only use size, it's only going to change this one. So now what I can do is I can come back to the stroke again. We can click to change the color of it. I'm going to use this deep red. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and I'll click off of it. And notice that it automatically updated this one over here. So pretend that the group on the right is in the cloud It's in a shared library. Well, now you have made a change to it as well. So that's what this one does. I've never had reason to use it other than to show all of you. And that's pretty much it. That's all I have covered. So I don't think there's any more since we have one person attending today. And I'm going to address this to her. I'm going to say, do you have any questions for me today? Otherwise, that's pretty much it. That's all I have today. Just remember that by the end of the week, your third assignment will be due. That's the architectural detail. And that's sort of a misnomer. It's meant to be an experimental piece. In the last couple of lessons, we've used some new tools. We've used graphic styles, we've used symbols, a variety of techniques that we haven't employed in previous lessons or assignments. So I think it would be a good time to test some of them out, to experiment. And that's exactly what this final assignment is meant to be. It's meant to be an experimental piece that you're to explore new tools and techniques that you haven't otherwise used up to this point in the semester. If you wish to use a subject other than an architectural detail, you are more than welcome to. If you would rather do a portrait, you're welcome to do that. It's entirely up to you what you use. I used architectural detail and to base it on an existing photograph because then it would eliminate your reason or your need to design, come up with subject matter to draw because you're working from a photograph. The only thing that you would be focusing on are the style in which you decide to create your illustration. And that would be to play with some of the tools and techniques that we've used in the past couple of weeks. Okay, so that's what that's about. So by the end of the week, I expect to get the last assignment from you. Make sure that you complete and upload all of the lessons 1 through 14. Don't have to do 15 or 16. We've already done a little bit of that. We've imported foreign files like Photoshop files. We use the placed feature. Sharing files in shared libraries is something different. I don't think you'll have the need for that for a while. And we're also running short on time. So there's really no time. And I felt not much of a need for showing you those features. Anyway, that's it for me. This is going to be the last time that I teach this class. I hope you've enjoyed it and got something from it. I know that my lectures are a little bit rough sometimes, a little awkward. I feel like I'm talking to myself. In fact, I am talking to myself. My dog here is listening a little bit. She's at my side and taking a nap. So that's pretty much it. If you have questions before the end of the semester, by the weekend, email me, and I can answer them by email, I will do that. If not, if you need visual demonstration, we can set up a Zoom meeting or a webinar specifically for you or a couple of you to iron out any issues. Okay, so I think I've covered everything adequately and corrected some of the mistakes or added some of the features that maybe I've forgotten to talk about. And we are done for the semester. I may see some of you next week for the other classes that I teach. I teach a couple of sections of Photoshop, 3D modeling class, and a web design class. So without anything more to say, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just say goodbye. And I'm going to go ahead and stop my recording and wish all of you luck in finishing up the semester, and maybe see some of you next week for the fall semester. And if not, maybe in the spring. Okay. Bye-bye.